Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Hari Om, everybody. Last time we saw Arjun had a question. First, he had the question about how to control the mind. Like it's very difficult. He says that it is very difficult to control the mind because the mind, it's like controlling the wind. And Bhagwan gave the answer that yes, it is difficult, but with Abhyasa and Vairagya, it is possible. So practice, we saw that. And then after that, Arjun again had a question. He says, okay, what if somebody is practicing this abhyasa, practicing this vairagya, but he becomes yoga bhrashta? Yoga bhrashta means he falls from the path. So I told you there are these 5 steps in spiritual level, not 5, there are more, but the first 5 are Viveka, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, and then the 4th one is Samadhi. Fall can happen only from the first 3. One, Samadhi is where that person, even for a split second, if he experiences the oneness between Jiva and Brahma, it is termed as Samadhi. And even if he experiences it even for like a fraction of a second, he will not lose it. That is that importance of that Samadhi. It's extremely difficult, but if you get it, you got it. That's it. So the fall can only happen from Viveka, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Fall can happen, and there are 2 reasons that fall happens. One is death. The person just dies. There's nothing he can do about it. And the other one is that his merit comes to an end, and that also he cannot do anything about it, because I told you it's like a bank balance. If that bank balance finishes, it finishes. So these are the 2 reasons, and in these 2 reasons there are 2 different scenarios as well. If that person has become completely desireless, or at the time of the fall he had some desire, any amount, any even a fraction, like little bit of desire, is going to block realization. It is not possible. You have to become completely desireless, completely. So then what happens is, if the person has become desireless, it's a very, very good place to be in. Immediately after his death, he will be born in a family of yoginas, poor, but they're yogis. They're already in the spiritual path. And Santananeshwar is the example. So the point there is, if the person is desireless, liberation is immediate. It doesn't take long, because immediate there is birth in a family which is now already on the path of yoga, and now he will just continue, take up his practice from the previous. It doesn't get wasted. That's the main thing, that whatever practice that we do in this life is never wasted. Actually, the very reason that now we are in this class means in our previous births we have done some practice, we have picked it up at that age. Therefore, different people come into this path at different ages, because they pick up that thread at different times. But the one who has got desires, on the strength of his upasana, because he has done practice, okay, he has done Viveka, he has done Vairagya, Shravana, Manana, he has fallen. So what happens is, on the strength of what he has done, he attains this Brahmaloka, so where he lives, where all his desires get fulfilled, because the desires are there. And by the time, see, there is a time lapse. So for a long time he will stay there, and then he comes back into a rich and a good pure Srimatam Shuchinam, Bhagwan says. So Srimatam, financially comfortable, I told you, or a rich family, where he continues with his practices. And it becomes very easy for him because he doesn't have to worry about where the next meal is going to come from. So he's got a good job, he's got a comfortable, everything, his surroundings are comfortable. Now he can practice his desires are also fulfilled. If he, in spite of some desire is left, he's in a very financially comfortable position, he can fulfill. But chances are that those desires are now fulfilled. Now he'll continue with his practice. Okay, so that is what I mean. The point is that nothing goes to waste. Like if we whatever practice that we are doing in this life, even if we stop doing it, it remains in subtle form. The practice done remains in subtle form. That's how papa and punya is accumulated. Whatever our good karmas that we have done, whatever our bad karmas that we have done, they're all, everything will be carried with the jivatma into the next birth. Okay, so that way the practice also will be carried. So we saw in 43 tatra tam buddhi, so because when he gets birth in that very the birth is very rare also, Bhagwan says, because a family of yogis to find is very rare. Because if a person realizes, generally he's not going to be in a family situation and have kids. But there are people like that. We see Nisargadatta Maharaj was married. His disciple Ramesh Balsekar, his number one disciple, had wife, children, grandchildren, everything he had. He also was a realized master. So we do see that, but it's rare. How many are there? Most of the families are not like that, and that's why. And then Bhagwan went on to say in 44 that Purva Abhyasena Teneva Riyate. Purva Abhyasa. Purva in the Purva Janma, in the previous births, whatever Abhyas, whatever practice that he has done, that he will it will fructify. So we've given you the example of Beethoven, who, deaf child at 6, writes the first symphony. How is it possible? Or a baby who knows how to suckle milk from the breast. Okay, so that is what is coming from the previous birth that child is bringing in. So we also bring in our tendencies, everything from the previous birth. That's where we were. We had finished. And then what happens? So how is the path of meditation nobler than all others? This is what Bhagwan is explaining now, but we have to understand this nobler than all others. Okay, we will. Prayatnadadhyamanastu yogi samshuddha kilbishah anek janma samsiddhah tato yati param gatim. But the yogi who strives with assiduity, purified from sins and perfected gradually through many births, then attains the highest goal. The one point to note here, first point, aneka janma samsiddhi, aneka, many births. So don't think that you start in this birth and suddenly you will get. You might even get, depending on how much practice you have put in the previous births. That's why some child can write the symphony at 6. Somebody might write it at 30. Somebody might write it at 40, 60. So what have I brought from my past life? That will depend. So aneka. So when we see people, realizing in this birth, it's not like they did it only in this birth. They brought something from the previous birth, brought a lot from the previous birth. It is said that, we see some people go for Jnana Marga. They realize, Swami Vivekananda was, or his guru Bhakti Marga, right? He went through Bhakti. Raman Maharshi went through knowledge, like he just had that knowledge without even reading anything. Nisargadatta Maharaj also only meditation. So what we think is, oh, they got it out of meditation. But what we have to realize is that in the previous births, see, all these 3 paths, 4 paths, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga, in the ultimate analysis, all 4 we have to do. The point is, we don't know what we have done in the past life. So if you take the example of, say, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, in this life, we only see him doing bhakti to the Divine Mother. But you have to understand that in his previous life, he has done karma yoga, he has done dhyana yoga, he has purified his mind. He has done, that's why in his bhakti, he already knows the oneness. So person, we think, oh, through bhakti he got it, I will do bhakti only. No, he has done it in the past lives. Therefore, in this life, if we can do all four, because we can do simultaneously, we can do karma yoga, have bhakti also, read also, jnana yoga also, dhyana yoga also, everything we can do simultaneously. We should keep doing everything simultaneously. Not like, I will do only bhakti. Don't, if you're that great a bhakta, then you will drop everything else and do it. But if we know that we are somewhere in the middle, then all four. Because every realized master, remember, we may not have seen it. Say Gurudev, Jnana Marga, right? He just went for stride. But bhakti and all he had done, that means he has done all the other three. So only that one portion is remaining. So that whole, Sanchita karma is there of bhakti yoga completed, karma yoga completed, dhyana yoga completed. Now jnana yoga was remaining. So in this life, we see him doing jnana yoga and then realizing. This is how this thing works. So that's why aneka janma samsiddhi. So in many, many births, he has done this practice and strives with assiduity. This assiduity word, I asked Google, what is the meaning? Great and constant diligence, attention. That's the meaning of that. So great and constant. Constant word is very important. Constantly, we have to be practicing this knowledge. Okay, so when he has done that and purified from, so shuddha kilbishaha, the last word in the first line, samyak shuddhi. Samyak means very well purified. Kilbisha, now here, kilbisha means impurities. Okay, so what impurities are we talking about in this particular kilbisha? So impurity can be of the body, impurity can be of speech, impurity can be of mind. This impurity that we are talking about here is at the level of the vasana. See, he has done practice, so much practice is done. So now body, of course it is, he's keeping it clean. Speech is pure. If this person is a spiritual seeker, generally a real spiritual seeker who is practicing with great constant diligence, is not going to have impurity of the speech. Generally, he's not going to use bad words. He's not going to hurt somebody. He's not going to insult somebody. He's not doing these type of things which ordinary people do. Even at the level of the mind, he has obviously overcome likes and dislikes. So where is this purification now has to happen is at the level of the vasanas. So vasana level is where we create impressions, and impressions are created by habit. Yes. Did you have a
question, Jayaji? When we talk about purifying the vasanas, because you've talked many times, right, about how the arrow has been released and the vasanas we cannot. So when it comes to the purification, are we talking about the fructification of it, the degree to which it happened? What can we do about this then,
about
or
the
prevent
vasana?
more from happening?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So that what is the kilbisha at the vasana level is the impression that is being formed. So at our stage, the point is not to create that impression. And how do I create that impression? One thing is I repeat a habit. Repetition of habit will create. How does an impression, how this impression also is created at the vasana level? I'll tell you. So you have an aluminum foil. Say we have that foil we have. Now, suppose if I have a coin, a loonie or a toonie or whatever, which has got the Canada goose on one side and whatever. Now you press that coin against that foil. Push it down. What will happen? An impression will be formed, right? The harder you push it down, the firm that it will be more and more deep, clear. Or so that is how this at the level of the vasanas, that is how impressions are formed. So what happens is you're pushing it down, pushing it. So what in our case, what we are doing, we are repeating the same thing over and over again. And how do I repeat? Why do I, if I like something, I want it repeated. If I dislike something, I don't want it repeated. Both is creating an impression in the vasana level. What this person has done, see, this is prayatna. So he has done prayatna. Prayatna is what? Abhyas, practice. He has practiced for many, many lives not to create those impressions. So basically the practice is happening from overcoming likes and dislikes only. Ultimately, yes. That is what we have to try to do, is not create an impression. And I'll tell you very, see, how do I know? Okay, then the next question is, how do I know that whether there is an impression in my vasana or not? Okay, the point is, say you're habitual. Very simple example I will take. I drink tea every morning because from my mother only told me that when we turned age three, my brother and I, she used to drink tea. She made us drink tea. So now we got habituated to it. Now there is a tea vasana. Obviously, there is one. How do I know that that impression is not deep-seated? Is when there might be a time when I'm traveling and tea is not available. What is the condition of my mind when that thing is not available? That is what determines. You understand? So if I get totally agitated, oh my God, now my whole day is ruined and I didn't get my cup of tea, know that that impression is very deep. But if you say, okay, that's fine, no problem, I'll just drink hot water, I won't drink anything, I'm okay, I'm okay. That is what will tell you, because vasana we don't know. But considering the fact that if I'm at home, if I'm at somebody else's house, if I get up in the morning, they say, oh, would you like to have something? Immediately the word tea will come out of my mouth. I will not, if I'm in somebody's house, say I'm in the friend's house or relative's house, I will say that. So I know that that vasana is there. Or if somebody else, even in the afternoon, after lunch, they ask me, or 4 o'clock, they ask me, I will say, yes, I will have a cup of tea. So I know that that vasana is there. But now when I travel and say it's not there, there have been, I've traveled a lot, and many times there is no tea over there. If there is coffee, I'll drink coffee. Sometimes there is nothing. So nothing, that's fine too. Then I know that that impression is not bothering me. Okay, so that's why I've always told you how we relate to object. Suppose if this person I like, say I like my grandchild. Okay, best example. Who doesn't? They love their. Now one weekend I can't see him. Now what is the condition of my mind determines how deep that impression. If I'm like, okay, that's fine. Mom, he's not. One weekend they said, Mom, he's got a temperature, we cannot come. I was worried about the temperature, but I was okay. And I said, okay, we'll do a video call and I'll just, right? So that is the intensity of your reaction to that thing, what you like not being there, what you dislike being there. Because mostly what we don't like is running away, what we dislike is running towards us. Then what is the condition of your mind? This person has done the practice. That's why when we read this verse, Bhagwan here is saying that this yogi, by doing this, he is not allowing any impression to be formed in his vasana level. By absolutely not reacting to anything outside. Food is available, okay, fine, I'll eat. Food not available, okay, no problem. No problem. This is available, no problem. Not available, no problem. Everything is a no problem situation. Then that impressions you are not creating. And that is what is meant by extreme purification, because the final purification has to happen at the level of the vasanas. That is what is getting carried into next birth. So, and aneka janma it takes. Aneka janma, not just one or two. Aneka is plural. It's not two, it's not single one, not double, anek. So there's many. And yati param gatim. Gati, I told you, is a result afterwards, after death. So param, he's getting the supreme gati, supreme, two meanings. One is there's nothing beyond it. One is it is a point of no return. You don't come back from samadhi. You do not come back. Like the person who gains that samadhi comes back, means he will come back to this world, but at the time of death, he will be liberated. He'll get Videha Mukti. So that's why there is no coming back to the cycle of birth and death. One who attains samadhi does not come back into the cycle of birth and death. This yogi, striving hard perfected over many, many lives, he has now, at the level of the vasanas, extreme purification of the vasanas. Then what happens to him is yati, he goes to that param gatim. He comes to me, and me in the sense in the final, so realization. Okay, this is what he means here. Because his subtle body, the vasana level is now destroyed once and forever, ever. So what releases from the body is only the atma. It's not jivatma. It's not carrying the baggage of vasanas. This particular point I'll be talking in detail tomorrow in the Drigdrish Vivek, but this is what it is. So he's striving with grace. So what is the see here, Gurudev is purified from sin. I told you in Vedanta, sin is not, we don't steal and we don't cheat and lie, and that is not the thing, because ordinarily that is the sin. No, oh, he did murder, he murdered somebody, he stole, he cheated somebody, he did identity theft, God knows how many things there are. Those things we are not doing. So sin for us is to create an impression, and create an impression. So good impression is also a sin, and bad impression is also a sin, because no matter whether it is good or bad, it is giving you birth. Whatever will give you the next birth is a sin, as per Vedanta. This is the highest definition of sin for us. For spiritual seekers, you should not create even good, like people do good work, right? Oh, like we talked about in the Upanishad class, dharmic people, good, but good work is done. See, you need it, so I'm giving it to you. It is creating an impression. He's doing good, but impression is being created. That is a sin. For a spiritual seeker, that is a sin. This is what purified from sins. This is what we have, is to be understood. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be good. We should be good, but that's why that ego then immediately has to be surrendered to the Lord. Bhakti, where you say, thank you, Lord, you gave me enough money that I could do charity. You gave me the knowledge that I could give advice to somebody. You gave me the time that I could help. You gave me a healthy body so I could help somebody. Why am I keeping my body healthy? A spiritual seeker, see, yesterday's class only, there's a model who is also actress or model, what she's trying to keep her body very fit and firm. There is an athlete who is also trying to keep the body. Then there is a spiritual seeker also. Now, what is the difference between the three? The model is doing it for money, because her body is what is going to bring her money. She's going to act, the people, she's going to model clothes or whatever, and money. So she's doing it for money. The athlete is not doing it for money. He's doing it for some gold medal or to win a race or something. The spiritual seeker must keep the body healthy so that I can help somebody else. Because unless I myself have a healthy body, I cannot help anybody else. So there is a difference in the vision. That is a tamasic vision. When the person is doing it only for money. Oh, I want people to think I'm very, very young. Oh, I want to enjoy life. That also they want. Good Lord, I need a healthy body because I want to travel and I want to eat this and I want to go there and I want to do that. The athlete has one single goal. He says, I'm a personal trainer or I'm a coach. I'm a this. I need my body. How can I coach anybody else if I myself can't do those things? Like a personal trainer, she needs to do first before her trainee can do it. So she needs her body. That is Rajas. That's Rajasic. This is Sattvic. That's why vision, change in vision is what Vedanta is all about. Okay? Because outwardly she's also looking up, you're also, what's the difference between you and her then? That is a difference. Okay? This is what Bhagavan is saying here. Yogi, now this yogi word is important. We understand. So yogi is one, dhyana yogi. Yogi is one, please understand, is the one who is trying to control his mind. Control his mind. And we'll see the difference between purification and control. Okay? So yogi who tries, the one who is trying to control his mind with great practice, great diligence, over births and births and births, what he does is he's purifying his sins, because the mind is so controlled that no matter what happens, the mind is not shaking. What is this likes and what are they doing? They're shaking our mind. I like something, my mind is, haha. Let me go get it. This, oh my God, let me be away from it. So the mind is shaking. He's not allowing the mind to shake at all. That is what this is. Okay, clear? All right, good. Next one. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन. The yogi is thought to be superior to the ascetics, tapasvi, and even superior to men of knowledge, mere studies. He is also superior to men of action. Therefore, you strive to be a yogi, O Arjuna. Okay, there are 4 words that Bhagwan has used here. Yogi, tapasvi, jnani, and karmi or karma yogi. Karma yogi is also, karma yogi is appropriate also. So we have to understand, what is Bhagwan saying here? That yogi is the most superior. That's what he's saying. Okay, so we need to understand all these 4 words before we can understand how yogi is superior, most superior. The yogi, I told you, refers to a dhyana yogi, a person who is trying to control his mind. Control, okay? Word is control, not purify. Control. All right. Next, who is an ascetic? Tapasvi. What is tapas doing? Tapas is one who is trying to purify his mind. What is tapas? Tapas is going against your own vasanas. You know, when you want to sleep until 10, but you decide you'll get up at 7 o'clock, tapas. When you're used to doing a thing a particular way, but now you say, no, I've decided to now fast, so I'm not going to eat, you know, n number of things, or I won't eat outside, or I won't this thing, this thing, this. When you decide those stuff, that is what tapas is. Okay, so tapas, austerities, one who is doing austerities. So he's extreme austerity. Even later on in 17, Bhagwan will say, no, it's not necessary to go stand under the sun around a fire, go stand in the, you know, Himalayas in the cold, or some grouse mountain in the snow, bare bodied. That is all tapas. That's all falling under tapas. That Bhagwan will say is not necessary. But anyway, so that is what tapas. Now, jnani here should be, and that's why Gurudev has put mere studies. See, a jnani word is used also for a realized master. Here, it is not a realized master, because no way can a realized master be inferior to a yogi, because a yogi is trying to control. A realized master has already controlled his mind. So jnani word here means means like us. We think we are jnanis. We are studying. No, that is us. So this meaning has to be understood very correctly, because otherwise there'll be total confusion. It is because jnani word is used for realized masters also. Huh? In chapter 2 only Bhagwan says he's a jnani, panditaha, dhiraha, manishina. All these words are used for sthita pradnya. All these words were used. So jnani word has been used, but jnani, that's why I think Gurudev particularly put it as mere, the one who is, because if somebody is doing, say, yoga, you know, sitting in meditation, trying to control, and I'm studying. No, control of the mind is more important than just mere studies, mere studying. If that studying will give you the control of the mind, it is good. It does give. And I'll tell you what the problem is there also. Now, the men of action, so karma yoga is meant to purify the mind. So karma yoga is done to purify the mind. Understand? Okay. What is purification? Reduction of likes and dislikes. Okay. The bhakti yoga is done to surrender ego. That's why I said, if I can help somebody, then I surrender my ego. Instead of saying, oh, see, I had the money, so I gave you. I had the strength, so I helped you. Instead of saying that, you say, thank you, Lord. So that ego is now being surrendered. Okay. And the yogi is trying to control the mind. Purification of mind, there are 2 problems. See, purification is, okay, now you have overcome likes and dislikes. Okay, so you are not reacting to every single thing that is happening. The mind has got 2 problems. Mind has got huge amount of problems. But anyway, the 2 problems are, one is this impure mind, which is under the influence of likes and dislikes. That is it's a worse mind. So when I'm under the influence of likes and dislikes, every single thing is bothering me. Because basically it comes down to like and dislike. So every single thing bothers me. I don't like this, I like that. I don't. Now, when I overcome likes and dislikes, then the mind gets another problem is manoraja, fanciful imaginations. The mind gets into these things. First, there's likes and dislikes are so strong that there is no fanciful image. There's only a struggle to maintain what I like and stay away from what I dislike. That the person is just struggling to just do that. Now that struggle is over. Now there is, now the mind goes into fanciful imaginations. And that is what needs to be controlled in the seat of meditation. That's why what happens. That's why, japa also, I told you, I do japa and my mind is somewhere else. It wanders. And the reason that I continue to do japa is because my acharya has told me that I need to create a vasana for my next birth. So it's actually a prep for my next life. If there is a human birth, then I will pick up that thread from this life. So there are times when I do bring my mind to that mantra, whatever that I'm doing, but most of the time the mind is going. And there is no likes or dislikes. It is manoraj. When I'm chanting also, the mind is somewhere else. Most of the time, I'm trying to control. That is why you continue. You don't say that, oh, my mind wanders, why should I do japa? No, that is the practice. That is abhyasa. That abhyasa you do, you will pick it up. That's why Bhagavan has promised, you will pick it up. You will pick it up. Don't think that, what is the point? My mind is wandering. Most of the people, they give it up. They give up the practice. No, my mind is not coming under control only. Why I should sit for meditation? Why I should do japa? No, that is not correct. Let it wander. It's okay. Mind is like a monkey. You can't help it. You can't help it. But over aneka janma, over many births, it will come under control. Okay, so that control of the mind is extremely essential. What happens, I'll tell you further. This verse doesn't at this level, but there are some senior students here. So what happens in the seat of meditation is, when you control your mind, what is control your mind is you actually then transcend the mind. When you transcend the mind, you actually see yourself without any upadhis. Right now, how do I see myself? I see my body. I know my body is here. I know I know my mind is happy, or whatever. My mind is running or not running, or my mind is speaking. I know all these things. But in the seat of meditation, when that mind comes under your complete control, what will happen is you will see only yourself, bare, naked you, without the upadhis. That is the goal of meditation, the final goal. Now, when that happens, when all the upadhis are dropped in the seat of meditation, what happens is, on the strength of the knowledge that you have, what knowledge do you have? Aham Brahmasmi. You are at the level where there is only aham without the. Right now, aham is what? Aham is Jaya, aham is 5'4", aham is female, aham is talking, aham is mother, aham is grandmother, aham is wife, husband, whatever it is, that is what aham is. But in the seat of meditation, when the mind comes under complete control, you will have that aham without anything else. No mother, no father, no 5'4", no female, no male. Alone aham. And on the strength of the knowledge of aham brahmasmi, you will suddenly realize that it is only Brahman, that I am only Brahman. That is the final goal. That is that yati param gatim. That's why here Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, try to control your mind. That is, in my opinion, that's what Bhagavan says, Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. Become a yogi. A yogi is the one who controls. The mind is under control. Whatever happens. Then in the seat of, first you have to practice this control in extra, because we are living our life 24/7. We are reacting with the world. There, if you don't have control, how will you have control in the seat of meditation? So practice control here. Then also practice meditation at the same time. Karma yoga also has to be done simultaneously. Simultaneously, you have to do studies also, because unless you study, how will you know all these things? How will you know? So studies also has to go on. Everything has to go on simultaneously. Whatever you collect in this life, don't worry about it. Bhagwan has promised it will be there. It will remain there. So start now. Here and now. This is where you start. Okay, so that is the final in meditation. Those who are just joining in, don't worry about all those final stages. That's very deep, subtler thought. But I'm just telling you that is what actually happens. That is what actually is supposed to happen. You have to remain as aham without any upadhis, any coverings. And at that moment, that aham brahmasmi will, that is what Gurudev used to call as making the gunpowder extremely dry. Gunpowder here is mind. You dry up the mind of desires. When that gunpowder is extremely dry, one spark, boom, it'll explode. Okay, that's why the importance of controlling the desires. Now, any questions? Now, among the yogis, now Bhagavan is saying, so among the yogis also, those who are trying to control the mind, there is a hierarchy. So he says, yoginamapi sarvesham madgattenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo matah. And among all yogis, he who, full of faith, with his inner self merged in me, worships me, he is according to me the most devout. Me with a capital M, indicating that Bhagavan is now talking from the level of the pure consciousness, not Krishna as a form. Okay, that's number one. Among the yogis, Sarvesham, all the yogis are trying to control the mind. People maybe see there are like I told you, athletes are also controlling their mind, right? Because they want the gold medal. Model is also controlling her. Maybe she wants to eat some junk food, but she's saying, no, Baba, I cannot eat that because then my figure will get spoiled. She's also controlling the mind. So it is not, everybody is not trying to control the mind having faith in God. So the spiritual seeker among the yogis, Bhagavan says, he full of it. This is an introduction to the next chapter, okay? Because here he says, worships me, merged in me. That description of me is going to now come in chapter 7. Okay, so this is an introduction to the next chapter. So he says, full of faith. First of all, faith, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. In 9th chapter, Bhagavan will say, you have to have faith. Faith in God, faith in the means, faith in the scriptures, faith in the guru, faith in your own self that I can do it. Faith is very, very important. Therefore, in the Shat Sampatti, faith is there, Shraddha. With his inner self merged in me, this inner self, you have to reach the inner self first. What is the inner? That is what I told you. In the seat of meditation, the inner self is the self without any conditionings. Right now, my inner self is there, but it has got all these conditionings. So all those conditionings have to be dropped, not physically destroyed. Okay, that is not the point. You transcend. That is what Raman Maharshi did. At the age of 16, he transcended the body, he transcended the pranas, he transcended the mind, he transcended the, vasa, every level. And he realized that I'm eternal existence. Why do I need education? Why do I need food? Why do I need anything? Why do I need family? Why do I need anything? And what did he do? Next day, he just took a train and he went off. You never fall once you reach Samadhi. You never fall. So that inner self merged in me means what? That you reach the inner self. That is where your practices, your effort is. You reach that inner self without the conditionings, and the knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi will, that's the match. That's it. Finish. That's it. End. That is the end. That is the final end. Death is not an end. Death is only a comma or a semicolon. So there's a comma and then life continues. So this is why worships me. He, according to me, is the most devout. So bhakti also is being brought in. And then the me, he has not explained. Who is this me will be explained in the next chapter. From 7 to 13 is the autobiography of Bhagwan. 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8, 13, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So up to 12. 7 to 12 chapters is the autobiography of Bhagwan himself, of the pure consciousness. And then from 13 onwards, we go into the Asi, of the Tattvamasi Mahavakya. Are there any questions? Clear? Clear? Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Dhyana Yogo Nama Shashtodhyayaha. We have to read. Gurudev's tradition is that when we finish a chapter, we read the first verse again to indicate to us that the study is not over. Okay, it's not like, oh, chapter 6 is over, now just let me put the book away. It is not like that. Studies have to continue constantly. So what we do is we just read the first verse and we leave it there, which means that we have to read the full chapter again. Okay, let me just find that first verse. Oh, come on, come on. Six. Yoga meditation. अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच अनाश्रितकर्मफलं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चाक्रियः.